Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, we've wasted so much time this year in a bogus Russian collusion allegation and on various messaging bills, which are ultimately not going to go anywhere, that it's nice that we actually have the Departments of Justice and Homeland Security and the FBI and the U.S. Election Assistance Commission before us to talk about a real issue, and that's protecting America's elections from foreign influence. There are various pieces of legislation that would, I believe, help better protect our elections in the future. For example, I'm an original co-sponsor of H.R. 3442, which would deny entry into the United States any individual who interferes with our election. Let's hope that maybe this committee could work together in a bipartisan fashion to make sure our elections are once again the gold standard. What the rest of the world looks to is how you do it, how you get it right. We've generally been that gold standard over the years, so we need to get back to that. Ms. Flores, let me begin with you if I could. I'll start by asking a question that relates to H.R. 3442, the legislation that I just mentioned. What's the standard for determining what kind of content posted by foreign agent or agents that rises to the level of being a foreign influence operation? Is there a certain type of verbiage or rhetoric that the FBI looks for? And do you think engaging in such behavior online should bar an individual from entering the United States?
Thank you, sir, for your question. So I'll start by saying that the FBI does not content or police information on the internet. That is certainly not our job and not something that we plan to get into. What we look at is actually known nefarious actors. So if we have identified a foreign actor who is participating in influence operations and as part of those operations seeks to propagate disinformation or post derogatory content, that is of investigative interest to us, but we absolutely do not start with content and work our way back.
Thank you. Mr. Hickey, would you agree with that? And is there anything you'd like to elaborate on there?
No, I think the DID got it exactly right. We focus on known actors and tip the providers in a way that helps them make determinations under their terms of service.
Is there anything that the Department of Justice is doing to work with social media companies in advance of the 2020 elections?
Principally through the FIDIF, but we also support the FIDIF's efforts and sometimes accompany them in working with the providers.
Okay. Are there any other countries other than Russia that you have seen that, or that you believe is showing some interest in disrupting our elections in 2020 or in the future in general?
We've spoken, and the IC has spoken about foreign influence activities, malign foreign influence activities from China, and we are certainly concerned about others in the course of our FARA enforcement. Obviously, we've seen actions by agents of other nations like Turkey and Ukraine.
And this is to any of the witnesses. What was your agency's role in securing the 2018 congressional midterm elections, and what specific efforts were made in that effort? Mr. Mester?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Our role, as it is now, in helping to secure the 2018 midterm elections was to provide information sharing, support, and services to state and local election officials to help them manage risk to their systems. So we started by building those trusted relationships with those state election officials that are, I think, appropriately skeptical of a federal role in elections, and by providing value, right? That the information we provide, the services, help them identify and manage that risk to their systems. And so we're doubling down on those efforts for 2020 to reach those local election officials across the state. Cheryl in Jackson County, Ohio, how do we get to her and get her the information sharing she needs to manage risk to her systems?
Thank you very much. And I'm getting close to being out of time, but Ms. Flores, let me ask you this. Would you agree that the FBI's reputation was significantly damaged by political bias against the president, President Trump specifically, that was exhibited by a number of top-level officials in your organization?
Sir, I'm not going to comment on any damage or lack of damage to our reputation.
Okay.
Thank you.
well, I'll answer it, it really was. People like Peter Strzok and others, I think, very much damaged. And it's unfair to the rest of the organization because the FBI is truly a great organization, one of the best in this nation. Thank you very much, and I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. Let me just say for the record that I think Peter Strzok acted in the highest traditions of government workers.